Coucou tout le monde, cette fois-ci ça va être en français et ça va être un défi que je me suis proposé à moi-même parce que je n'arrive pas à vivre sans un défi et avec le confinement c'est très difficile de trouver un défi. Je m'excuse d'abord déjà pour la prononciation, le problème d'accent, etc. Parce que ça fait déjà quelques mois que je ne suis pas en France à cause de... Je suis bloquée au Brésil, en fait. Je ne peux pas rentrer en France. Et voilà. Il y aura, j'imagine, de fautes. Mais et c'est quoi ces défis? Ces défis, c'est d'écrire un texte en 30 minutes et un texte de fiction. Et je vais commencer les 30 minutes, je vais regarder autour de moi, je vais choisir un objet ou un mot. Et cet objet ou mot doit être le personnage principal de mon histoire. L'histoire doit être en fiction, ça ne peut pas être basé sur ma vie personnelle. Il faut que ce soit de la fiction. Il faut qu'il ait une fin. Donc, je ne peux pas le laisser à la moitié, à la fin de 30 minutes. Et puis, cette image, elle va changer parce que là, je tiens le téléphone avec la main. Je vais en fait enregistrer. Vous n'allez pas me voir, moi, mais vous allez voir mon écran parce que je vais utiliser un machin qui s'appelle Capture sur mon Mac, dans mon Mac, qui enregistre l'écran de mon Mac. Donc, vous allez me voir en train d'écrire et vous allez voir le temps. Et à la fin, je vais lire le texte. Si jamais j'ai été inspirée, parce que quand tu écris sous pression, des fois il y a des inspirations, des choses que tu as lues avant. Enfin, il y a plein de choses qui peuvent rentrer et faire partie de l'inspiration. Et ça, je vais vous dire à la fin. D'accord? Il y a une autre chose qui est très important de remarquer, c'est que ma première langue, elle est portugais du Brésil. Ma deuxième langue est l'anglais américain et ma troisième langue est le français. Donc, il y aura forcément des fautes de grammaire, des fautes d'expression, machin. Vous êtes les bienvenus pour mettre dans les commentaires des corrections de grammaire, des corrections d'expression et également, pourquoi pas, de critiques constructives. Mais que ce soit constructive, pas méchante, ok? Parce que des fois, les critiques méchantes font vraiment du mal. Mais au début de chaque défi, je vais vous prévenir si ça va être en quelle langue je vais écrire. Je vais écrire dans la langue dans laquelle je sens plus envie le jour que je vais faire la vidéo. Aujourd'hui, par exemple, ça va être en anglais. Et après, je vais traduire et je reviendrai avec la traduction et les textes. D'accord? À bientôt, à toutes! Coucou, c'est moi encore, c'est moi à nouveau. Et à la fin, comme vous avez vu, j'ai réussi à faire le défi en 30 minutes. 30 minutes pile poil. Mais, bah, comme j'ai fait sous pression, j'ai pas eu le temps de réviser le, les dates, en les informations historiques. Ah, à propos de ça, je n'ai pas utilisé, j'ai pas été influencée par des œuvres littéraires, mais j'étais influencée par l'histoire de la Seconde Guerre mondiale. Du coup, comme j'ai pas eu le temps de réviser, il y aura peut-être deux fautes dans la chronologie, quand les choses se sont passées. Enfin, il y aura peut-être des fautes là-dessus. Et ce que je voulais dire, c'est que je vais traduire le texte en français parce qu'aujourd'hui, j'avais vraiment envie de l'écrire en anglais et je vais traduire en français. Mais je ne vais pas corriger quoi que ce soit, je vais faire une traduction littéraire et je vais la mettre dans la description. Si vous avez des corrections de français, grammaire, machin, euh, s'il vous plaît, mettez dans les commentaires, ça m'aide beaucoup. Et bah voilà, à très bientôt. The radio. I was sitting there on one of the shelves in a pretty living room. Dusty, forgotten. No, not forgotten. Someone still remembered me. I have seen things, or better saying, I have heard things. Let me put the image bigger so I can see. I have heard things. I remember everyone sitting around me to listen to what I had to say. It was 1939, and Hitler had just invaded Poland. The father, the mother, and the 6 children were all almost glued to me, sitting on their chairs, commenting, "What does that mean?" Then, around 1941, things were even worse. Bombs falling all over London. The family was still there. The 3 boys didn't have to go to war. I don't know why. The father, the mother, all there, glued to me. Even more, barely breathing. Every word I said seemed to decide whether they were going to live or die. Indeed. Then the war was over. I remember telling them that. The 3 girls screamed of joy and cried. The boys almost fell from their chairs. Father and mother only smiled, very relieved from what I could see. I know we were very lucky to be alive, for no bomb fell over our roof. But from the conversations I told them, not everyone in England was so lucky. But we were. I told them about the reconstruction of Europe and how the Americans were helping us. One of the girls got married, then another one. I played them a certain Elvis Presley. Then one of the boys got married too, then another girl. Then the 2 other boys got married almost at the same time. By then, I was playing them a lot of a certain group from Liverpool. The Beatles, they said. They seemed to like it a lot. Sometime later, the children started to have their own children, and father and mother became grandpa and grandma. The girls became mom and auntie, the boys became dad and uncle. I had new companions by now. There was one that almost left me to oblivion. It told things and showed images. I was jealous. Apparently, my family took a while to bring this new brother, this invader, invader, you get it. Apparently, my family took a while to bring this new brother, this invader, to our home. But Grandma still listened to me while cooking. Grandpa liked listening to what I said in the morning while shaving. The kids, or better saying, the new moms and dads, didn't care about me anymore. Such is life. So many things happened, and I wanted so badly to tell them. I wanted to tell them when the first man stepped on the moon, but they preferred the invasor. Luckily enough, I had the chance to repeat it to Grandma during lunch cooking time the next day. Time passed. I felt my energies were starting to run low, but no one seemed to care. Then Grandpa died, and then new things popped up from nowhere. A little box that opens its mouth to swallow a round, shiny disc. Nobody cares about listening to me anymore. Now, more than ever. Then Grandma died too. Someone morning decided to cook lunch and remembered to listen to me again. But she broke down in tears and one of her kids silenced me again. Silence can be like a stab. Silence is light, but it can be really, really heavy. And I was too small to carry it. But I was still alive, if you can say that. My home was sold, and I was moved into a very dusty old room in a new home. My companions were boxes. The old invasor was placed there too. Now I was starting to like him. Maybe because now I saw that he was replaced by someone else too. Jealousy. Oh, what an awful feeling. But I couldn't help it. Needless to say, the grandchildren grew up and got married too, and had their own kids too. And one day, someone came in to take some of my companions away. The boy, or the dad now, was going to leave me when he saw me. He hesitated for a moment, then turned round and picked me up, putting me inside the box with other brothers and sisters. I was taken to a new home. The dad was going to place me in another old, dusty room. But then something happened. His little son saw me in the box. Dad, what is that? It's just an old radio, son. It belonged to my great grandfather. Can I have it? What for? I want to play with it. The dad looked at his son, thought for a moment, and said, Okay. The boy took me to his room and started taking out pieces of me, replacing parts of my body with new ones. And when he finished, he went to his dad, as proud as a peacock. Look, Dad, I fixed it! And turned me on, and soon I started talking again. The dad looked very surprised and delighted at the same time. That's wonderful, son. It hasn't worked for years. Years my ass. You didn't let me talk. The kid grew up and went to college. He took me with him. Sometimes he liked listening to what I said when he was about to fall asleep. He became a fine engineer. Excellent job, nice house. But sometimes, when he comes back from work looking sad, beaten by the world, he looks at me on the shelf and lets me speak. And his eyes light up again. He knows he's capable of anything if he was capable of giving me life again. The end. 30 minutes. Bom, Et voilà, moi. À la prochaine, les loulous. Salut!